Om Yajasvahotarishito Yajiyagni Badho Mantana Prayukti Ano Mitra Varuna Nasatya Dyava Hotraya Prithivya Vavrutya Tvam Hota Mandratamono Adhrugantar Devo Vidayamarteshu Pavakaya Jimna Bahirasagni Yajasvatanvam Tavasvam.
Namaste. I am Sristi from Midam Charitable Trust, Pondicherry. We are collaborating with the Department of Neurology, JIPMA, for this DBT project, which is for the study of effect of the Vedic Chants intervention program VCIP on children with autism. In 2012, our founder Midam had started this program with the aim of studying and imparting Vedic chants as a therapeutic intervention for the management of children with special needs. In India, the special needs sector is one of the less prominent sectors where a lot of people do not directly involve themselves in, and there is a lot of lack of awareness, especially in the case of neurodevelopmental disorders such as autism. Vedic chants is a very traditional methodology which has been used in India since ancient times, and what we are aiming through this study is to scientifically document the benefits, and in the process, if we are successful, aim to standardize this intervention for children across the country. Especially in the field of special needs, there is a need for different innovations and interventions where different researchers are trying their best to develop new techniques. We decided to work on the ancient traditional Sanskrit hymns and see how we can use them. Since 2012, we have worked first hand with children, with parents, with institutions and NGOs for Vedic chants, and have also practically seen the benefit in various places. This DBT project, during this DBT project, we have worked with Sristi village also, and we will be sharing to you the benefits that we saw in Sristi. Thank you.
I'm Karthikeyan. I'm the initiator of the Sristi Foundation. The main intention of the Sristi Foundation: create an inclusive, self-sustaining and eco-friendly community for the people with intellectual and developmental disability, where they can live, learn, work, generate income and have an independent life. So this Vedic chanting we heard through Shushruth 6 months before or even before we started, and you can see that members just moving around, they walking around. Some people they slept actually during the chanting. We never forced them and never encouraged them, just let them be their own actually. That way the whole thing started. But slowly started actually everyone, they are attentive, they are seated in a position and start to listen what the chanting says and start to repeat, and some of them completely memorize the whole chanting. It's all become very surprising for me. But we also see some of them, they are very hyperactive. They were not at all sitting in the chanting, but now we see they are all sitting in a chanting in a circle and attentive for the completing the whole chanting, because in the beginning they sit for a few minutes and they run away, and then a few seconds to become a few minutes, and then a few minutes to 5 minutes, 5 minutes to 10 minutes, so that we can see this process happen.
A gradual increase is there.
The gradual increase happen. But now I see, especially one boy, his name is Fazil, he never sit at all in a place.
What is Mr. Fazil's condition?
Fazil is a person with intellectual disability and with hyperactivity, and he has so much restless person actually.
Aggressive.
He just run and move, and then he beat his mother and throw the mother and throw the food away. It's all happened. But after listening this chanting, and in the beginning he just ran actually, he never listened this chanting, but slowly he start to sit, and now we complete the whole 21-minute chanting, completely sit and listen the chanting. But what I personally felt, the transfer of learning, a transfer of behavior, it happened. Not only this chanting session, but what this behavior continue in other places also. He start to sit and properly eat and complete the food. Normally he throw the food actually after complete the food, but now he's completing the food and start to wash the plates, and then he become more balanced now. That one of the very special case it happened. But in generally what we see after started this chanting, or after the certain period of when we see the people sitting in the chanting, this behavior transferred to their classrooms. When I listen during our weekly meeting, some of the boys who are not at all attentive, they don't want to be in the classroom, they don't want to sit in the classroom. Now the behavior change, they start to attend the classroom, sit in the classroom and listening the teacher. So that for me is the biggest change, the transformation happened through the chanting.
எவ்வளோ மாசமா கேட்குறீங்க? 6 மாதம் ஆயிடுச்சு எல்லாருக்கும்? 6 மாதம் ஆயிடுச்சு. ஓகே, யார் யாருக்கு பிடிச்சிருக்கு கை தூக்குங்க. எல்லாருக்கும் பிடிச்சிருக்கு. போர் அடிக்கல? போர் அடிக்கல. ஓகே, வெரி குட். இப்போ ஒரு ஆள் உங்களுக்கு என்னென்ன பிடிச்சிருக்கு அப்படி சொல்லலாம். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இவங்க சொல்றாங்க. உங்க பேரு? பரணி. டி பரணி. பரணி, என்ன சொல்றீங்க? உங்களுக்கு எப்படி பிடிச்சிருக்கு?
ரொம்ப 6 மாசமா கேட்டிருக்கேன். ரொம்ப பிடிச்சிருக்கு.
ரொம்ப பிடிச்சிருக்கு.
ஜி வந்து சொன்னவே அவங்க கண்ணு மூடுறோம், தூங்கவே இல்லை, கண்ணு தாழ்வு மாட்டுறாங்க.
ஓ சூப்பர் சூப்பர், வெரி குட். எல்லாரும் கை தட்டுங்க. எக்ஸலன்ட் பரணி. சார் சொல்லுங்க, நீங்க?
என் பேர் மாதவன்.
மாதவன். ஓகே, நீங்க 6 மாசமா கேட்டிருக்கீங்க.
இங்க வந்து சூப்பரா இருக்கும்.
சூப்பரா இருக்குங்க.
நல்லா இருக்கு.
ஓஹோ, நல்லா சந்தோஷம்.
மூளைக்கு நல்லா இருக்கு. சூப்பரா.
மூளைக்கு நல்லா இருக்கு. ஓ,
கோவம் இல்ல.
யாருக்கு கோவம் வந்துருச்சு? உங்களுக்கு முன்னாடி கோவம் வந்துருச்சு. எப்போ கோவம் வரும் உங்களுக்கு?
கொஞ்சம் வந்துரும்.
எதனால வரும்? அது சரியாயிடுச்சு. இப்போ கோவம் வராது? கம்மியா வரும். ஓகே ஓகே, எதனால வரும் முன்னாடி தெரியல.
வந்து டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணுவாங்க.
இப்போ டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணாலும் நீங்க பரவாயில்ல அப்படி சொல்லிட்டு நீங்க கண்ட்ரோல் பண்றீங்க. வெரி குட் வெரி குட், ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். தேங்க்யூ மாதவன். ஓகே, இது எவ்வளோ? 6 மாசம் ஆயிடுச்சா இது கேட்டு?
இது வந்து 6 மாசமா அதுக்கு முன்னாடி கொஞ்சம் டென்ஷன், ஓவர் டென்ஷன். இது கேட்க கொஞ்சம் டென்ஷன், என்னோட டென்ஷன் என்னை விட்டு போடு, என்னை விட்டு என் டென்ஷன் போடு. அதே மாதிரி என்னோட இஷ்டத்துக்கு நான் பேசணும், மற்றவங்க சொல்லி
வேலை செய்யற மாதிரி இல்ல,
வேலை செய்யற மாதிரி இல்ல, என்னோட இஷ்டத்துக்கு நான் பேசணும்.
சூப்பர்.
என்னோட இஷ்டத்துக்கு மற்றவங்க சொல்லி நான்
பண்ணல,
வேலை செய்வேன். என்னோட இஷ்டத்துக்கு நான் வேலை செஞ்சுனே இருக்கேன்.
ஓ சூப்பர் சூப்பர், நல்லா.
ஆனா கேட்க என்னை விட்டு போயிட்டே இருக்கு, திருப்பி கேட்டுட்டே இருக்கணும்னு
தோணுது. சூப்பர் சூப்பர் சூப்பர்.
Hello, a very good morning to all of you. I am Dr. Sunil Narayan, Senior Professor of Neurology at JIPMER in Pondicherry. I have a basic background of an MD in pediatrics, followed by a DM in neurology and a PhD in neurobiology. I did my MD thesis and published it in 1994, which was on neurodevelopmental sequelae of pyogenic meningitis in children. And then I also published an interesting EEG changes in a condition called subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, which is a complication of measles infection. In 2019, DBT granted funding for us for a project for which we had applied a few years back, and Dr. Sandhya, my senior collaborator from the Madras University, was by then retiring and handed over the project officially to me. And we started organizing this project with a team of pediatrics faculty, Dr. Venkatesh Chandrasekharan, a pediatric psychiatrist, Dr. Shivanand Katimani, both from Jipmer along with me, and Mr. Shushut Bade, who works in the Midam Charitable Trust as a research fellow, which is also an organization in Pondicherry. And we also recruited a young research assistant with training in biotechnology and biomedical engineering, and purchased the screening diagnostic tools for autism, a few basic equipments. We organized collaborations with the specialist schools in Pondicherry, especially the Satya schools, and also with the child guidance clinic, the child psychiatry clinic, and the neurology clinic, and also the NEEPMED in Chennai, where there is which has a special focus on special education. And then the pandemic struck from nowhere. We encountered major hurdles in the pursuit of the work, since parents stopped bringing the children for elective consultations to Jipmer, which was a designated COVID hospital. The parents stopped sending the wards to special schools and even to regular schools, and the schools remained closed for about 1.5 years. Recently, we have started seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, with the schools all set to reopen on the 1st of November, and we are also re-recruiting the research assistant who had discontinued in the meanwhile. We had already started collecting the basic data on children with developmental disorders, and had done EEG and MRI scan in around 50 of these patients, 50 of these children, and biomarkers, which we deliberately delayed because they had to be done within a stipulated time. But before this process started, we had done some pilot studies. In about 10 children, we had done the hormonal and biochemical assays, and done the intervention and see the behavioral changes and also the changes in the biochemical profile, and this was published in a international conference on molecular biology, and that gave us a lot of confidence and encouragement to apply for these grants as early as 2012. It took some time for the funding to come. We also tried the effects of Vedic Chants intervention in a special community organized by an enthusiastic young psychologist which is in a village near Pondicherry, and Mr. Karthikeyan, who was the proprietor of this organization called Sristi, had a good setup for young people with mental and other behavioral challenges to come together and be given some special training and in communications and other skills. So, the video clip which I am going to share with you is showing the exposure and effects of the Vedic Chants interventions, which we thought is an interesting way to try to beneficially modify the behavior and other mental abilities of the children affected with autism. Regarding Vedic chants and its effects, traditionally we know that we in India know that close to our temples we had recitation of religious verses as a part of the temple proceedings, and the devotees used to come there, chant along with often in families, and most of them go back very peacefully and look forward to it either weekly or monthly basis, and this was almost a ritual in many Indian villages in the temples. And of late even the Western countries had started looking at these ancient verses which they thought could have some good beneficial effects on the mind and brain. And they also found that many of them, especially from India, who were used to these practices, had sometimes enviable and extraordinary mental abilities which had drawn even the attention of the Western world. So what we intend to do is to collect biomarkers such as some hormones and proteins, and then electroencephalogram before and after the intervention with the Vedic chants, and then see the effects of this intervention on the autism rating scores, the behavioral rating scores, the hormonal and biochemical profile, and the EEG, and also correlate them with the genetic and MRI patterns in these children. Now, with this introduction, I would like to now try to connect you with the first with Mr. Shushut Bade, who is an enthusiastic youngster, works with who organizes activities of the Midam Trust, and also Mr. Karthikeyan, who has set up this Sristi community for the specially abled and challenged youngsters. Thank you.